Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Ottawa, Canada-based jazz guitarist Roddy Ellias. We had a great talk about his new 2021 CD, Not This Room, featuring vocalist Kellylee Evans and pianist Marc Copland. He also delved into the beginnings of his life in jazz, his career so far, COVID, and the future, along with a little bit more. Enjoy the tale.
Hey, man, thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for doing this interview. I appreciate that. So, yeah, look forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. So let's start off with Not This Room. You know, it's coming out during a very strange time on planet Earth that's been happening for quite a while now. How does it feel to have this album come out at this particular time?
Well, that's a very good question. I haven't thought about that. Well, in all honesty, a bit of a relief, because the album is all about this weird time, about the whole COVID process and all the emotions and feelings that a lot of us have had. Believe me, it was a struggle writing it. I've never had so much trouble writing music in my life, like writing about the pandemic in the middle of the pandemic. Same with Sandra, who wrote the text, right? So we both really had to work at this, but it came out. We're really happy with it, and so it's almost like giving birth. That kind of relief. We made it, right? So yeah, it's kind of exciting to have music out at this time when not a lot of people have the opportunity to do music. It's been a challenge for everybody.
Yeah, certainly has. So, what are you hoping the listener gets from this experience?
A connection, like listen to the words. Listen to the music. Like you have to sit down and listen to it. You can't just put it on as background music. You have to spend a little time and listen to it. And what I hope that is people just identify with it and say, yeah, I've really felt that, and this really captures what I felt. There's 9 different songs with 9 different feelings and 9 different sort of subjects about, dealing with what we've all been through, and they're still going through, right?
For sure. So how did this journey into music, and more specifically jazz, begin for you? Where were you born and raised, and kind of what was your childhood like to get to this point?
Well, not the usual path. Let's see. I think my first exposures to music, I didn't come from my immediate family wasn't overly musical, although my father would sing on Sunday mornings while he made pancakes or whatever, and my mother would sing Broadway tunes out of tune whenever she could. But we didn't have any musical instruments, and I don't even think they had a record player. But all my cousins and relatives were musical, played instruments. I was brought up with the sort of Orthodox Christian church, and in that church was some incredibly beautiful music. So that was an early influence. And then just going and hanging out at my grandmother's when I was like 5 and 6, and just playing on the piano, just fascinated with the sounds and just sort of improvising. It's sort of like bad Cecil Taylor, right? Like I was just fascinated to sit there for hours exploring the sounds. And I guess that's it. And then when was around 12 or so, we lived in an area where there were like lots of guitar players around apartment buildings, and like probably about 6 or 7 of the apartments close to us had guitar players, and so I just hung around them and asked them to show me things and sing around in the kitchen, and that was it. I think that I got hooked right away. I wasn't really exposed a lot to jazz till I was maybe 13, 14, and I met this older guitar player, and he introduced me to music of Nancy Wilson, a jazz singer, and Lou Rawls, who was sort of a blues gospel singer, but he was a few jazz albums out in those days. And I was just hooked. I just couldn't believe her singing, her phrasing, where she put across a melody. And I think that probably affected the way I play melodies more than anything. Just the way she brought out every word, and with the rhythmic fluency and flexibility. It's just gorgeous.
So what was the first live jazz show you ever saw that really blew you away?
My mentor, Nelson Simons, in what Wes Montgomery thought was the best guitar player on the planet. I mean, Wes has documented saying, if he ever came to the States, it'd be game over for me. So Nelson lived in Montreal, which is about a 2-hour drive from where I was. So I used to go there in high school on weekends and check him out, hang out with him. He sort of mentored me, and he and Charles Biddle, bass player, was so moving. And I just there was no jazz where I lived, so I had to go there, and that was a very strong influence on me. That was the first live jazz for sure. Lenny Breau, I don't know if you know Lenny Breau.
Yeah.
Canadian guitarist. Yeah, he used to come to my hometown, Ottawa, again when I was in high school, and he'd come maybe for a week at a time, 3 or 4 times a year, and I got to hang out with him, meet him, and listen to him. I'd be there 6 nights when he was there for 6 nights. It was just incredible.
Talk to me a little bit about what's the best part of being a professional musician for you. You know, you get to wake up every day and you get to create music. What is the best part of this for you?
I think, like with anybody, just doing something you love, you know, and your hobby is your job. Just being creative and being open. I mean, you know, being a musician sort of makes you aware of other people. You have to tune into the world, and I feel anyway, and have something to write about or to play about. And it's connecting people, and it's I feel very privileged to have, you know, stumbled into. I never really decided to be a musician. It just happened. I just did it, and that's all I've ever done. I had a job in a warehouse when I was 16 for 2 weeks, and that's the only other job I've ever had. So I feel very privileged, honored, and one of the lucky ones that's been able to, you know, survive playing music.
Right on. So, you know, we've been away from live music for a long time, kind of picking, and hopefully we're the other end of this pandemic. I hope we all realize about the power of live music when we do really return at a regular pace to live shows. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've done a couple of live concerts in the last few months, but now things are escalating again. I was just asked to do a recording in a few weeks, and I just canceled it because you know, things are escalating. So it's up and down. It's like like a yo-yo. So I hope things will get better soon. But yeah. So I think everybody's in the same position. Like, I know a lot of musicians who have gigs in January and they're not sure whether they're going to actually do them or not, and myself included.
Yeah, it's uncertain right now. You know, everyone has a perception or an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately, you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? Yep.
I'm a work in progress. That's what I think I am. And yeah, it's, you know, it's funny. I was just thinking about that today. I don't often think about that. It's a long story why I was thinking about that. But no, I'm definitely a work in progress. I love learning things. I love changing musically and otherwise. Right now, I've always been into you know, spiritual things, martial arts, and so on. And I've recently become very involved with Taoism, Taoist philosophies, and that, you know, works very well with what I'm trying to do musically. And so that's who I think I am. I don't really know. I just try to be the best person I can, like most people, I think. And I don't know. Who do you think I am?
I think what you said there completely sums it up. I think sometimes that question can be viewed as something that needs to be longer, but it's like if you're going to write a PhD, it's more about what you put into it rather than the length. So I think it's good. I think it's great.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Roddy, hey, thank you for opening up. Good luck with the album. I love the cover, man. It has such a good feel to it.
Oh, thanks so much. And thanks for the interview. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Canada, America, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Roddy for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Lost in one, not this one. Neon Jazz.